Hey everyone, and welcome to the Polygon Forest. I am indie developer Vin Hill, and I am joined by the other indie developer, Christopher Jarvis.
Hello. How are you?
So we've got I'm not too bad, man. How about you? How's Tricks? I saw that you were on with your lady last week, doing the old showcase reactions.
Yes. That was fun. That was good fun. That was all kind of last minute. You were supposed to join us, and Rachel.
I was. An emergency came up though. I apologize.
Yeah, no, these things happen. So we did the showcase, and I was thinking Alice is going to hate this, but she really enjoyed it. She had a great old time, and she was really good on camera, and she was really funny and witty. And I was just looked back and I watched it, and I'm just like this, and she was like cracking jokes.
You're just absorbed by it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. That's good. It's cool though, because I'm sure like a similar thing happens with me and Rachel, where like she's basically a backseat gamer. She just loves to watch like every game. Like I am her Twitch.tv. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see like, and when you put them like, there's so much knowledge there already that like she already knows about. But I'm sure you've seen similar things of Alice like creep through. It's like, oh yeah, that's the game that you were playing last week or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, she really liked Fable 3. Because of Richard Ayoade in it, and so she thought that was great. So she'd never heard of Fable 3, she didn't know about Fable 1 or 2, but like knowing that there's that sort of thing in Fable 3 that really piqued her interest. So
no, it's Fable 4, right? Because there is a Fable 1, 2, and 3 already. 3 was on 360. I'm pretty certain. You'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it's the fourth one. It's a reboot either way. It's just called Fable.
Okay. Okay. Yes. No, you're right. It's a reboot then. Yeah, you're right. Yes, because that had... Yes. Sorry, my mistake. I thought it was 3.
It's okay. I saved you from the angry comments.
Yeah.
You can
it's
already
not
see all
3.
The
it's a reboot.
So it's actually number 4, and it's a reboot. I can hear it. I can see the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's called Fable, A New Beginning for the Legendary Franchise. So
it's quite a subtitle.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But we just.
But yeah, so the stream went well. Though.
The stream went well, and just in case anyone was wondering, yes, me and Vin did meet up with our partners in Norwich in that lovely location there in the background. It's not a
indeed.
It's not a fake background. It's real, and I was there.
Yeah, it's a bit too symmetrical for me, so it kind of looks like I'm in a church or something. That's the joke. Kind of like the church.
The Church of Vin.
Right. But yeah, it's a nice little Airbnb that I'm in. Had a couple of rooms. But Chris came over. It was great. Like we had a grand old time in Norwich.
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah. But enough about that. This is a video game.
I fed you some katsu curry as well that you seem to enjoy.
Yeah, that was great. I bought some stuff. I need to send you a picture actually because it's not the same one. So I'll see if it passes your master.
Shogunai.
That's all that was there. So Shogunai.
Yeah,
I had some great curry, and some good times. But enough about us meeting up. Video games. You caught the Xbox Showcase, didn't you?
I did. I like the emergency that we had. Like we got in like 3 minutes before the showcase started, so I was at least able to sit down and watch it. Just didn't have time to like set up cameras and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we sat down and watched it. And I think it lasted, it was like an hour, and then there was another 30 minutes of the Starfield one after that.
It was like 2 hours.
It may be longer.
Yeah, it was 2 hours.
It would have been 2 hours altogether, right?
Yeah.
But it was a grand old, it was a big old showcase, that's for sure.
It was huge.
Yeah.
I think it was like 30 minutes for Starfield, and an hour and 3/4, an hour and a half for the rest of the showcase. And that is huge. Like, there's never been such a big thing before from any of the PlayStation or Xbox, is there?
No, I don't think so. And it was funny because like when I first heard about it being that long, they said, it's going to run for like 150 minutes altogether. Like 160 minutes or something. I can't remember how much it actually was. It wasn't 150 or 60. It was like 120 or something. It was 2 hours almost. I was like, it's a bit too long, man. Like it's going to be really dragged out. Does Starfield really need like an extra 40 to 50 minutes of just like information on that game? Yeah, kind of needed it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It kind of
like after I watched it, I was like, all right, yeah, fair enough.
Kind of did.
Yeah,
that was the major impression I got. I was just but then there's more. Oh, and there's more. And then at one point I remember thinking, oh, they're definitely not going to have base building. Like they've done so much, they're never going to have base building. Like it would just be the spaceship will be a base. No, and here's base building. Oh, and here's how big it's going to be. And it's just like,
yeah, bananas. Yeah, so like to sort of like jump off that, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that might not watch the reaction video as well, because some people just don't like reaction videos and just like listening to podcasts or whatever.
Yeah.
For people that haven't watched the reaction, you should go and watch it though. But people that haven't, like, what's your sort of top level sort of impressions of the showcase?
It was huge and massive and impressive. Like, it feels like the last marketing cycle was like, oh, Xbox are in trouble. They haven't got any games. They're all their game launches are in trouble. Like Phil Spencer's head was on the block almost, but in terms of from the press anyway, not from anyone else apart from the press.
Are you saying that the press make up stories? Stop it! Don't be so silly.
But yeah, I think that was all. I think Todd played into that, and he knew that this was coming, and he knew it was special, and he knew people would be blown away. And I just think mission accomplished. Like, there's some stuff there that like 3 years ago I would have been like, well, that's the AAA game, like Clockwork Revolution. That's basically like, what's the thing with Comstock and Troy Baker voicing the character, and you've got the
BioShock Infinite.
BioShock Infinite,
it's very much like that.
It reminded me very much of BioShock Infinite, which was like the AAA game at the time.
Yeah, that comparison is going to come no matter what for those folks. Like, working on the game, they knew, you know what I mean?
Steampunk.
Like, people are going to compare this to BioShock Infinite. Like, it's going to happen. But it looks great. Like, it does look good.
Yeah, and there was so much fandom for that game that I think that it's totally legit that there's another one in the similar sort of stylistic comparisons from. So yeah, what we're going to do today actually is talk about what we liked from the Xbox Showcase, and then PlayStation talked about their strategy, and then that's going to be that. So, what was your best bits of the Xbox Showcase then?
Like
games wise,
it's tough.
And if you talk about Starfield afterwards.
Yeah, my overall impression, I guess, of the showcase, like I should probably start there before like we dive into like individual sort of games.
Sure.
But my overall impression, and I don't mean this like hyperbolically or like that, but it's probably the best showcase that Xbox has ever done in the games industry, like in their whole career, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. It was A-, I would say. Like the only minus I would give is like there was a couple of them which, I would have been happier to see gameplay over
cinematic trailers. Agreed. That was my only grievance. Yeah. Like I want to. This has piqued my interest. So well done. The IP looks interesting. I want to see gameplay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my only markdown. But yeah, just a fantastic showing. Basically, like they didn't talk too much. It was just Sarah Bond came on. She said her bit, and then it was just game after game after game after game. It was like I remember stopping. I didn't stop, but like while I was watching it, like every time it said world premiere or whatever, because I normally joke at that and laugh at it, but there was just so many of those.
So many world premieres, yeah.
Yeah, I got halfway, like you get halfway through the showcase, like, geez, it's still going, and they're just bangers. You know what I mean? Like it was just they were good looking games that were coming, and it was fair enough. You know what I mean? Like you gotta doff your hat at Spencer and like what the folks over at Xbox have been doing. Because it's clearly like they've been building up to this for a while, and you can tell, they've been slowly, quietly working in the background. They've had like a couple of bad moments this year already with things like Redfall didn't do too well.
Yeah.
And like that sort of put a hit in them, and they've been delaying Starfield out and out, and like you sort of understand why now, because it's kind of like if that game needs to succeed, and from what they're showing, it's really got no reason not to, you know what I mean? Like that thing looks like a beast. But yeah, well played to them. Great showcase. I thought it was really, really good. And I say that as a PlayStation owner as well.
Same.
Like you can't fault them, because PlayStation just had an abysmal showcase a couple of weeks ago. It really wasn't good. Like it was most of the games that we already knew about. And the ones
Yeah.
that we didn't know about was the CG trailers, and it was like, yeah, this was not good. Like this, you haven't had a showcase in 2 years, and it's the best you can do. It's kind of worrying. But yeah, it's Xbox. It was Xbox's time to shine. They were a bit cocky about it after that PlayStation showcase. They're like, well, we've got some stuff in the works, and it's like, you better like simmer down, Xbox, because you might not have the goods.
Yeah,
They had.
I remember thinking that. Yeah, and yeah, I was blown out the water basically. I had to look at the clock because I was like, I couldn't have been there this much time. Yeah.
Yep. And it was just
and
going
still
and
being
going
impressed.
and
And I'm like, oh, Starfield would be next. Oh, Starfield would be next. Starfield would be next. I know. And then when it did start, that was just like, I thought I knew what the game was. I thought I had a pretty good grasp based on what they had previously. But yeah, Starfield also blew me away. And I was looking.
All right.
Okay, we'll go into that. But yeah, we'll do a game. We'll do we'll run through our games, then we'll go in order. Avowed.
All right.
That looked pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Eternity
Obsidian.
series. Yeah, Obsidian RPG stuff. So that looked really cool.
Yeah, Obsidian. I mean, they made Fallout New Vegas, right? Like so, and they also made the Outer Worlds, which like got a lot of praise and people really love that game. So the fact that they're making a Skyrim-esque version of their own sort of system, which they were sort of shown the ways by Bethesda, but yeah, it's great.
Yep, looks good. We talked about, bless you, Clockwork Revolution.
Thank you.
Looks great as well. I just hope there's a really good story to go with it, because that was the only thing that was the only thing that was praised and criticized for with I forgot the game again.
BioShock Infinite.
BioShock Infinite. I'll never remember that game. I'll never remember the name. I had problems with the story, but at the end I thought it was quite good. And yeah, I would totally pick that up on Game Pass. I would totally give that a play.
Well, that's the thing about all of the games that we're going to be talking about from the showcase, is that the vast majority of them that were shown, they're coming to Game Pass day one. You know what I mean? Like
day one Game Pass.
To just download it at your own leisure, sort of thing. It's kind of like, and it was weird being in that mindset watching it, because it was like, yeah, I want to bought that game, but I kind of want to try it, so I'm going to download it on Game Pass.
Yeah,
and that mindset shift is just I love that. Like, I think it's great. I think it's the best thing to happen to games.
It's like a little.
It's not about
kick.
How much I can afford. It's about
what do you want to play? Try. Yeah, it's about how big the buffet is. It's like the buffet's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you've already bought your ticket, and they just keep bringing things out of delicious things that you want to try. And it's like, I can try all of this stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
And then whatever is the best thing, I'll spend my time on. Yeah,
it's great.
And then Fable, that just, I mean, I know it was a CG trailer, but in terms of,
it wasn't. It was in game.
It was in game, wasn't it? It was in game. You're right. Yeah. Which was impressive for Fable, because they've always looked a bit weird. And I saw you can kick a chicken, so that's a plus.
Of course. I mean, like the age old. Yeah, it was like what you call it? You got like a weird title whenever you did anything within Fable, like in the originals. Yeah. And one of like the first like titles that you get is a chicken kicker. Yeah. So it was a nod back to that. It was great. The thing that I love about that trailer more than anything is like how much British humor is in it. Was good. Like that's what I was worried about more than anything. But the fact that it's Playground Games doing this, which is a British company, good stuff. Like I really love the fact that it's keeping that humor, because that's like the most important aspect of it. Otherwise, it's just
an adventure game. Yeah. Yep. And Forza Motorsport, we're not proper petrol heads, but that was cool to see that was in there, and that was a bit of a surprise.
I mean, to the credit of the folks at Playground Games that make Forza, like them games get 9 out of 10s every time. Yeah, every single time. Yeah. So it's like, I might not be a fan of it and stuff. Like I much prefer the Horizon games because they're a lot more fun. But the people that are into Forza, like they know what's up. Like
it's
Forza
more technical. It's more racing drivers game rather than fun casual player. Yeah. Because you can, if you need a steering wheel and all that sort of stuff. My brother's got a steering wheel and feedback and all that sort of stuff. That's for them.
Oh, he's all in.
Flights. Oh my god, Flight Simulator. That blew me away. The 2024 Flight Simulator. I was just like, I was just like, what? Because it looked huge.
So much stuff to do.
And it looks so much better than the old Flight Simulator, which was just crazy. I remember looking at that and being impressed.
Yeah, I think it's that aspect of, like now that you've learned how to fly a plane, like you've played Flight Simulator, you've enjoyed it, but you probably waned off after a while because you're just flying around looking at pretty scenery, which is great for a while. Yeah. But now we're going to give you stuff to do. And it was like, all right, this is sick. Because there's so many weird like pilot-y things that people do in the world, like in actual planes, that you don't really think about, like putting out forest fires and rescuing people and stuff. Crop dusting, stuff like that. It's like, why aren't they in the game, right? Like it totally makes sense to. Like,
it gives you a reason to actually fly the different planes, like transporting something for a reason, and it gives way more gamification to a simulator, so it makes it way more gamey, which is great.
Yeah, well played. Yeah,
but I've got to say, Flight Simulator, I'm not very happy. I don't know if this is Xbox. I don't know if this is Flight Simulator. But on the live show, it played the Dune expansion with the Dragonfly type game. But on the actual the next day, I downloaded the video for the the audio to go on the video that I posted, and that wasn't on the live stream that I downloaded from YouTube.
Oh, they cut it out?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that means I had to edit. I had to download it separately and edit it, and it was not fun.
Fair enough.
So it made it really difficult.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
So there's a live stream video that people watch, and it's not the live stream, it's edited.
Yeah. So I'm guessing there's some marketing rights there, maybe.
It must have been
rights to June.
The live show only, and then not afterwards. Yeah, it must be a marketing deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre, right?
Senua Saga. This is one that Alice thought looked really cool as well.
Yeah. I mean, that game just looks better and better every time I see it.
Hellblade 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I mean, I love the first game. Very God of War-esque in that respect. Like, it sort of got a award before, like, the new God of War came out. They sort of did it first, to their credit. But it's been a long time in the making, and it's shaping up. Game looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm really interested to see where they take that one with the experience that they got from the first game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff. It's exactly what I wanted to see. Like, more gameplay. I just wanted a little bit of a tease. It didn't show too much.
Perfect. And the graphics look great. Yeah, and it's just looked great. South of Midnight, that looked really cool.
Oh, yeah, like the sort of the wooden carved out characters, right? Is that
they look carved and leathery, and it was like Death playing a guitar and the swamp in the bayou.
That was
and then this girl pulled out this magical thread or something, and it was all cinematic, but it's like, I want to see gameplay because it, like, the IP, they hooked you on the IP. That was actually missing from the live show after the fact, so it was there in game, but then it was missing from the actual live stream now, so you won't be able to see it if you
that was one of the games which I was kind of like, it looks great, like cool art style and stuff, but what is the game?
What do you do? Is it an adventure game? Idea. Is it a puzzle game? What is it?
It's like they were introducing the world and the lore and the characters. Like, I sort of get the intrigue and stuff. It was a nice tease, but like, is that going to be one of those games, where we cut to in 9 months' time, we see gameplay and it's like all top down from really far away, and we don't see any of those details. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea what it is. So
who knows?
Yeah, I'm intrigued, but no clue.
Towerbourne. That looked really cool. So that's the one where there's like this massive windmill. Do you remember that? And it's from the Banner Saga people.
Oh yeah, I did. I remember this. What was it called again? Sorry.
Towerbourne.
Towerbourne. This is the one that kind of like had eco vibes, right?
Possibly.
I think I remember seeing this. There was one of the games which I was just like, this. Oh no, this isn't that one.
It's like Castle Crashers vibes. Like Castle Crashers vibes. It's like
I'm way off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looked really cool.
Yeah, it looked cool. Not my type of game though. But that it was a nice sort of palate cleanser for the folks that are into those types of things for sure.
That's the other thing I was going to say. It looked like this sort of showcase. There was something for everyone. It kind of was ticking everyone's boxes. Like, everyone could have liked something from the showcase, and I liked a lot of it.
That's honestly one of the reasons why I gave it such a high mark and why I think it's the best showcase that Xbox has ever done. Is because it wasn't just because they were just showing games that I only liked. It's not about like, it's not an opinion mark. It was just like, as a showcase.
Yeah.
As like, okay, let's show what we've got coming and show what we've got, something for everyone. And they smashed that. Like, there was so many different things in there that were just like tiny games, big games, like everything in between. And it was just like this, like third party stuff that you really want to actually see.
Yeah.
And not just like random stuff. It was just, there was so much balance there. Like, you can't help but, applaud them.
33 Immortals. That looked interesting because it's 33 player co-op mode. And who are they from? It's from the people that did... What other game did they do? They're known for something else.
It was
action roguelike.
That was probably the one that I was least interested in out of the whole showcase, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really... Again, it's one of those things not really for me.
Yeah.
It's very much just...
33 player co-op.
That whole,
that's not really my jam.
Yeah, it's a game that's made for Twitch, basically. It's one of the... It feels like one of those games, you know what I mean? Yeah. And if I sense that at any point, I'm automatically like, yeah, no, it's not really for me.
Yeah.
Straight away, I'm just not into that. Like, give me a controller on my sofa by myself. Like, that's what I want. I want to escape for a while. I don't want to communicate with too many people, especially 32 other people. Like, let's all go this way, guys. Screw that. I just have not got the patience for that stuff. But that's just me.
No. And another one which I was surprised by how good it looked and how much I wanted to play it. City Skylines 2. That looks so cool. Like, with just how good it looks. Like, it just looks beautiful. I could
playing SimCity on the like the what you call it, the Mega Drive, like when you're a kid.
Yeah,
like that's how you saw it in your head, and now like, it's coming around. It's like,
now
it's realized. Kids don't know what they've got.
Yeah, and like how much road you could put in, like the amount of times on the Mega Drive where it's like, I want to put a loop here, but I can't because there's the mountain's in the way, or the loop's in the way, or there's another road in the way. But now
you've got like this weird. You've got this weird budget of like how much stuff you can put in an area because they literally haven't got the CPU or the memory to run it. So you can only put so much down. Whereas now it's just like this sprawling metropolis, and it's just like, all right, sweet. This is exactly where I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Different world, man. Different world.
And it just looks amazing. And there's so much money in City Builders that this is going to be huge. It's going to be a massive shift because it just looks like a massive step up. So
the first one did really well apparently. So
Dungeons of Hinterburge, where you're like the girl, and you got a sword, and
you know, Helvin.
And it was like cel shaded, but it looks like it's in like the Netherlands.
Yeah,
it looked cool. And
it was puzzly. It looked like an indie in a good way.
Yeah, an indie game. Yeah, totally looks. Game Pass game. It's going to look great. Give it a razz, see what happens.
It was one of those games. That was one of those games where I wouldn't have bought that, but if it's on Game Pass, I'm probably going to download that.
Totally.
That was one of them. I remember seeing it.
Same.
And just seeing how interesting, like the shader work on that project looks really interesting. Like I'd be curious to look at it just from like a dev standpoint and just sort of analyze it. You know what I mean? It's one of those games. But cool stuff.
Jusant, the climbing game. Where you're like a climber.
Oh yeah, this is like the eco-ish.
That was the eco game, right? Where you've got a line and you've got to climb up, and that's the one you thought looked eco-y. Okay, interesting. How
is it spelled again?
Jusant.
Jusant. Okay.
Jusant.
Yeah, this is like the eco-ish looking one. It kind of. Yeah, it's
the mechanics.
I don't know
really
what
cool.
it is. I don't know what it was. It just gave me vibes of eco, and I was like,
okay,
sold.
Yeah, because you look up,
straight
you look
away.
up at a tower, and there's like a massive tower, and there's a massive bridge, and it's like far up in the distance, and you're like, okay, I've got to climb that to get there. It's the scale, and it's the camera angles, and Yeah, and the camera pans out, and you can see all the different
Yeah.
places you've got to go. Yeah, so I get that. Yeah, I
I
didn't
had
pick up
similar
on it
vibes,
until
like Last Guardian, things like that. It just
Yeah.
as soon as I saw it, I was like sold straight away. Even Rachel was sat next to me, and she was like, "You're gonna like this, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yep, they know."
I
what's
like
up.
the swinging mechanic. Like you get out on the line and you can swing around. That looks really cool.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's kind of got eco-y thing, and it's got a little cuddly toy that you drive around with. Therefore, it's got something for the something for the kids as well.
something for the kids. Yeah.
Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. I don't know about that. It's just the naked guy on the beach. No clue. Do you know anything about that?
It's a Yakuza game, right? So Like a Dragon is a Yakuza spin-off game, which is like an action RPG. It was just an action game. It was like an action adventure game, but now like a Dragon, which is a spin-off series, is action RPG. So it's kind of turn-based and got like summons and stuff like that. It's kind of like Final Fantasy meets Yakuza, which is a really weird combination. But people really love the first one, so this is just a sequel to that, I think.
Because it just
the worst game title in human history, though, hands down. Like, just abysmal. Anyone. Yeah.
It didn't look like it didn't look like I knew what the heck was going on. It looked like a naked person on the beach simulator.
It was a tease. It was an introduction to the world. I'm assuming it's like the next game, because the last one, I think it was set in Tokyo, I think it was, Like a Dragon. But this one looks like it's going to be set in Hawaii or something like that. So it's like
different
Japanese
location.
person wandering around trying to like interact with Americans and stuff. Should be an interesting mix. We'll see. But if you're into Yakuza, like that's like people.
I'm sure people were knowing what was going on when
on.
I saw that. I know that there was
Without doubt.
They showed enough to get some people excited, and I just wasn't one of those people, I think. And the same for the next few games, actually, with Metaphor, the Fantasio.
You kill me, Chris.
No?
You need to play a Persona game, man. Like you really do. Yeah. So there was straight away. I think they showed was it. I can't even remember what it's called again.
Defanzio. Metaphor.
Let's just call it Metaphor.
Okay.
So Metaphor it's a new game by Atlas, which is the folks that make Persona, and it's a new IP, completely new IP. So they haven't really done this in a while, which is like a Persona style game, but not Persona. It's got its own sort of lore and world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw this, I was like, I'm in straight away, because I'm a huge Persona fan. Like I love those games. So like just give me more of that, please. Nom 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 nom. I'm good. So like that was one of the highlights, because I saw that and it was just like, this is awesome, because everyone's been waited with bated breath for Persona 6, like the next Persona game entry.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's coming soon as well. But the fact that we're getting Persona 6, we're also getting another game, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and then also Metaphor as well. Like we're just getting more and more stuff from Atlas, which is like sort of Persona-y related, which is awesome. Like great stuff for fans. Automatically piqued my interest. I'm definitely interested. But I understand you're not an RPG guy, so I totally get it.
I just think I haven't had time to be. I wouldn't say I'm not. I just haven't had time.
It's a valid reason. Absolutely valid. Yeah.
Because it just looks like I'm going to fall down a hole that I know I would really enjoy. That's probably why I have not played a lot of Metal Gears, because it takes so much time and I've got no time. Speaking of which, moving on. What was this one? Kunitsugami. Is that right?
On this episode of Chris Tries to Speak Japanese.
Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, a new tale of the Kami awaits.
This is the Capcom game, right? Or is this something else?
It's the one where you had the sword, but it looked like you had a pom-pom on the end of the sword, and the person was waving it around. And then there was like hands growing out of like a village. And you look like you play like a samurai. And there's like flying tentacles in the sky. And he just slams his samurai sword.
Sounds like an anime game.
Yeah, it's Japanesey.
I don't know. I can't actually remember this one whatsoever.
That's fine. We can move on.
Yeah, sorry.
Payday 3.
Yeah, it's a big one.
That was a big one.
That was a big one.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
I'm not a huge fan of Payday anyway, but I know that game's gonna slam. I'm pretty sure like everyone's gonna. That's gonna be a big hit for those.
It's gonna play well.
Guys,
and
so
it's gonna be a lot of replay value, and it's gonna be a good streaming game.
Heist
as well.
games.
Yeah.
So a lot of heist games have been announced over the last sort of couple of months anyway, because Haven Software, the folks that ran away from Ubisoft and set up their own company and was bought out by PlayStation immediately. The Jade Raymond studio, they're also working on a heist game called Fair Plays, and the plays has got like a $sign on the end. Oh, it's cringe. It's awful. But yeah, there's a few heist games on the way. But yeah, Payday is the granddaddy of them all. I think that's the big one.
Yeah. So you're talking about Persona. There's Persona 3 Reload. Is that?
Yep.
That's not Persona 6.
No.
No.
So they're remaking Persona 3. So the way I can give you a quick history lesson, like really, really quick. It's super brief. So there's Persona 1 and 2, which were on the PlayStation 1, and then Persona 3 and 4 were on the PlayStation 2, and then Persona 5, the most recent entry, was on the PlayStation 3, but also PS4, and obviously it's got to be on PS5 as well and stuff.
Mm.
But Persona 3 was like the first two were like really weird and just not like great to play. They weren't really fun. They were definitely like heading towards, like it helped them get to where they were going to, but Persona 3 was like that's the one where they cracked it. They really figured it out.
Yeah.
And they did a really great job on it. It's like the idea of being like a high school sort of student in Japan and having like these parallel universes that you sort of cross between. And like they figured out the formula of what Persona is going to be for the future with Persona 3. But they didn't really, after Persona 3 came out, they sort of ignored it as much as they possibly could to get to Persona 4, which is like sort of seen as the big one. And that's what most people have played. And now like people have been screaming like, come on, like port Persona 3 because we can't play it anywhere at the moment. Like it's hard to get hold of. Port it, or at least port it, but you can remake it. That'd be awesome. And that's basically what they've done. So they're given this game which sort of like put the franchise on a map, a whole new breath of fresh air, which is super important. So it'll give me the opportunity, because I've never played through Persona 3. I've got like halfway through it and I got busy with something and I dropped off. But like now that a remake's coming around, it's like, yes, day one, I'm absolutely in on this game. Can't wait. It'll be a good sort of entry point to people that have never played Persona as well, I think.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's on Game Pass, then yeah, I'll check
Game
it
Pass
out.
day one, I believe. Yep.
Nice. And then there was Persona 5
Tactics, right?
Tac-
PST.
PST. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically just let Persona 5 die. This is the only Persona game which I saw in the showcase. I was like, all right, just stop. You know what I mean? Either make Persona 6 or don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's like, just stop messing with Persona 5. I know it was successful, but Jesus, like give us a break. There's too much Persona 5.
Too much Persona 5.
Yeah.
That's fine. The other big one, which I was surprised at, was Star Wars Outlaws. I was surprised that wasn't leaked. That looks.
Oh, but I mean, they announced it like a year and a half ago or something. So people knew that Ubisoft were. Yeah,
I knew Ubisoft were doing a Star Wars
announced.
game. I just was surprised it didn't like leak what it was. You know.
Yeah. There was. I made the joke on the Ubisoft Forward showcase, which we're not going to talk about because it was really uneventful. Not really much was announced that we didn't already know about. But like the first game that they showed at the Ubisoft Forward event was the Prince of Persia game, like the new one, like the side-scroller Prince of Persia game.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of a nod back to the old ones. And I jokingly put out a tweet saying, congratulations to Ubisoft for announcing their first game that didn't leak. And then someone actually corrected me.
I was like, it
very
did
swiftly
leak.
afterwards. Like, actually, it did leak about 6 months ago. I was like, motherfucker, you're so close. You almost made it that time.
One day.
But, yeah.
One day.
One day they'll make it.
But yeah, it was good. It was a cinematic trailer, so we don't really know what the gameplay is.
They were saving the gameplay for the Ubisoft Forward event. So if you go and watch the Ubisoft Forward event, they've got a full gameplay section. Looks good. Looks pretty
What of
solid.
this game? Star Wars Outlaws?
Yep. So full gameplay section in the they were just saving it for that. I think they actually explicitly said that in the showcase as well. So I don't dock them for points for that because they said like full gameplay reveal at the Ubisoft Forward event.
Right.
So
Well,
I don't really knock them too much.
it's not been talked about online very much then. The only thing that's really jars me is that the speeders, they don't have long stabilizers at the front, which is Star Wars-y, and this has got kind of like a ski thing at the front of the speeder. Not a fan of that. But
for our listeners, the glazed look appearing over my eyes, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. But yeah, Chris.
No.
I have to explain this to the audience. Chris is a nerd, right? So he's like super specific about Star Wars sort of engineering, right? Like anything to do with a vehicle, he knows what's up. And
yes.
if anything's out of place or slightly off, like he's not a happy chappy. So
it's off canon. It's off canon. I'm not having it.
We have to let him have this.
Yeah, I'm not having it. And
run away, please. Run away.
There'll be people that agree with me. It's like, yeah, it's not really Star Warsy. Fine if you want to change things up, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that was just my 2 cents. The axolotl looking cuddly toy thing looked really cute, so that was cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you need a cute sort of small companion and everything Star Wars these days.
Yes,
after BB-8 and all that sort of stuff. BB-1 as well, isn't it? BD-1.
BD-1, yeah, from
BD-1
from Star Wars Force.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, that's it.
Yeah.
Still Wakes the Deep, the oil refinery horror game, first person.
Yeah,
that looked cool as well. And again, I don't really play horror games, but again, I was happy that they had a horror game in the lineup.
Yeah. Without doubt.
So yeah, and it's a narrative horror game as well, so it's kind of cool. It's not just like a run around and just get scared at turning pipes. So that was really cool. Cyberpunk as well. Phantom Liberty. That looked cool. Whole new
Keanu Reeves
narrative.
made a reappearance.
Made reappearance with his hands.
And he was super into it, yo. And that guy. He's got way too much energy.
Yeah.
But in a great way. Like the guy he's very genuine, to be fair. But yeah, like madness. Like they are persistent with that game. You know,
they are.
They really want it to do well.
And I got some comments on the last video where it's like it's in a good state now. People are saying, that like you should check it out. It's in a good state. It is like ready to go.
I played it about 4 months ago. And yeah, it felt pretty damn polished. And I was like, I'm gonna leave it until the expansion comes out, and then I'm gonna go.
So you're gonna pick up the Phantom Liberty thing?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. I think that might be a good jumping on point as well for me as well, because I was waiting until the right time. Elder Scrolls Online Necrom. Prepare for a new Elder Scrolls adventure.
Cool. Yeah, I'm totally out of the loop on Elder Scrolls Online.
Same.
The folks that are into it will be losing it. Like, yes, new expansion. But for me, I'm just like, I know nothing. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, people know what's up, but I don't.
And Fallout 76 Road to Atlantic City. I'm not quite sure what that actually is. Like, what is it? Is it Fallout 76 expansion? So still making content for that game?
Yeah, for 76. Yeah, it's huge. Like, it's an online game, so they want to keep that going as much as possible.
Wow, it looked really cool. 15 million players have made The Wasteland their home. So 15 million people have played that game.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
It's a big old game now.
Overwatch 2. Yep, it's Overwatch 2.
Yep.
One of the weirdest ones for me, it was just like, what's the word? I don't know how to describe it. Was the Sea of Thieves Legend of Monkey Island crossover.
So good. It's so good. And I called it, like I said it out loud. Because like last year they did a similar thing with, was it Pirates of the Caribbean?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Expansion for that.
Yes.
And I remember them doing that, and I was like, "That's genius! Like that totally makes sense. Like
it's a game for service. That exactly fits that wheelhouse perfectly."
And as soon as like I sensed just a little bit, it's like it kind of feels like Monkey Island, but it can't be because it was. And then it dawned on me. I was like, "Oh my god! Like of all the expansions they could do, like I'm genuinely interested in playing this game now."
Same.
And I wasn't before.
And
I'm a huge Monkey Island fan.
Yeah, it looked like it got that same charm and that same that comedy as well, and it looked really cool. And it was just bizarre seeing the players, like the characters in 3D. That was just weird. That just made me go, they've done a really good job, but it's like freaky. It's like with a mansion and everything. It's just like, oh my God, that's just...
Yeah, so when they were in the Scum Bar or whatever, I was like, this is so good.
Yeah.
Like, just so great. Like, such a genius branding opportunity. Like, I don't know who's like cutting these deals. It's like, okay, we need to find everything to do with pirates, and we're going to cut a deal with every single one of these people because we need to get them into Sea of Thieves. And it's like, yeah, Ubisoft are in serious trouble with Skull and Bones. You know what I mean? Because this is their competition. It's like, what the hell are they going to do? Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah.
Rough seas at Ubisoft, pun intended.
Okay. Yeah, and that brings us on to the Starfield Direct. That was all the other games we had. And if it was just that on its own, without any Starfield, that would have been like, that was an awesome showcase. Well done. There's so much stuff I want to play. Like
so much. Yeah. I'd probably play, like, that was the thing about the showcase, even though there was something for everyone. I kind of walked away from it being, like, I would play 80% of those games.
Same.
Absolutely fine. And even their older games, like something like, what you call it?
Like Forza.
Like Forza or the, we were just talking about it a second ago, the pirate game. What's it called? Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Even like Sea of Thieves, like I've pretty much like not really... I pick it up now because it's got me interested. Like, that is a successful like trailer. If you, like, hey, this game from like 4 years ago that nobody's like, you know, like, we're not gonna grow our audience any further than this, but they've managed to get me sort of a little bit interested in it now. It's like, oh, okay, I might actually go and check that thing out now.
Like City Skylines. Like, I don't play city building sims, but that has piqued my interest. Like, day one Game Pass. Heck yes, I'm going to go and build in a little town. But I got I got a bit carried away with Jurassic Park, the park building sim.
Oh God, such a good game.
That's
so good.
Sunk so much time. It got a bit addicted. It was the only game that I've played where I'm like, I'm a bit addicted to this. I should actually come off it because I got too addicted to it. I was just like, I can make this better. I can make this better. I can make this better. And they kept drip feeding you stuff that just was just like, yes, please, thank you, master. I want some more.
Yeah,
exactly. It was getting a bit weird.
Such a well-paced game, but you're absolutely right.
So the Starfield Direct, I was blown away. I don't know about you. Like, I was expecting to just see a lot of the same stuff that I'd already seen, and I was expecting like in-depth interviews and maybe behind the scenes and a bit more. To be honest, I was expecting what they didn't show, which was like campaign missions. I thought we'd go on a bit of a campaign mission, and you're like, these are the characters you're going to meet, and these are sort of the things you're going to do, and you know, kind of like Spider-Man, where they show you like loads of like a mission where there's like millions of cutscenes and all the different mechanics. I thought that's what we were going to see. We didn't see any of that, which is bananas. Yeah. But what we did see was a heck of a lot of weapons, a heck of a lot of monsters, aliens, a heck of a lot of ships. The loads more on the ship building, like editing. Because they told us about before, and I thought, you could just change out some pods, some, add some different boosters, change the cockpit, have some wings, don't have some wings. And I thought that's probably going to be it. But no, you had like people building mechs, people building animals. It sounds like it's the world is your oyster when it comes to making a ship. You can make it as ridiculous or as cool as you like, which is great. I'm looking forward to that. What else? The habitats looks amazing, like the bases, and the fact you can have people living in them, so you can choose the character that's going to best suit that. Alice was interested. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sort of do your home decor," and so I'll play Starfield, and she'll help me choose like the rugs and the tables and the chairs and stuff. Because that's her job.
That's like the most. Habitat. That might be the most sexist thing that's ever been said on a gaming podcast, but that's okay.
It just so happens that game.
I know. I mean, yeah. I know it came from like a genuine place, but it was just funny. It's like we're not helping this. No. We're not moving this needle at all, are we?
No, we're really not. Are we? I do the gunny shooty, and she does the carpets, the chairs.
Jesus, yeah.
Christ. Yeah. And one of the major things that impressed me the most was that I was looking for like similar flora and fauna. So I was like, I bet there's just gonna be different coloured flowers, and they'll just change the colour or the size, like in No Man's Sky, because that's the next thing that we're comparing it to, right?
Yeah, I think it's the easiest thing. It's basically No Man's Sky meets Fallout.
Yeah,
like, that's the sort of consensus at this point, which is a legitimate thing to say, but that's not necessarily a bad thing whatsoever.
Yeah,
because both of those games are great.
Yeah, but it does look like it's taking the best things of both of them, and there's been no compromise. But saying that, it looks better than any Fallout game I've ever seen. Like, it looks beautiful, like with the global illumination that they've got on the lighting, and that each star is actually lighting the planet and the atmosphere, and the colors of the atmosphere, and the rings and the shadows, and basically what the color grading is going to be on each planet is different based on the stars system that you happen to be in, which is just bonkers.
Yeah,
like they could have taken shortcuts. They could have done something cheaper and easier, but the fact they've done that is just hats off to them.
Yeah, that's basically what I walk away from the game with, is that the word that comes to mind more than anything is just, it's ludicrous. Like, the game is ludicrous. Like, it just shouldn't be this big. You shouldn't have that much to do. It's ludicrous. Like, this is clearly a team that was like, okay, here's an infinite amount of money, guys. Go nuts. No deadline. Have fun. Peace. Let us know when you're done. Like, that's what's happened.
Well, that's what they said in the showcase. They said we're making, they've played Fallout, but they were always talking about what would the space game be. So they were making the space game, and that's how they saw it. It's like the space game, everything. So you can do everything that you'd ever want to do in a space game. They've got it.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was a weird sort of showcase, like to be specific about the Starfield one. It was one of the first showcases which I must have gotten about 10% into it. Right, you get about 10%. I was like 5 minutes into the show, and stuff. Like, we got this and we got that and we got this. I got about 5 minutes in. I was like, you know what? I really don't want to see anymore, because I'm sold. All right, I was sold like 5 years ago, yo, and now you just. And here's this bit of chocolate. Here's the cream. Here's the cherries. You know what I mean? Like, just
and
the whole thing.
Sprinkles and some shavings.
And every time they were introducing something new, it's like, oh, by the way, this is all our weapon customizations. Oh, you can build bases. And look at the ship customization. You can have 9 different ships and stuff like this. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you can also like be a space pirate if you want, and board other like
and
NPC
board
ships
them and shoot people
and take over them and stuff and keep those ships. I'm just like, this is what you know what I mean? It was just ridiculous. The whole thing was ludicrous. It made no sense how. I don't say wow too often, but like that game looks wow. It just looks insane. Like how big it looks. I'm super excited for it. I really hope that it does live up to the expectations. I know it probably will, just purely because it's Bethesda Division 1, like the Maryland studio, barely misses ever. Like, they made Oblivion Game of the Year. They made Skyrim Game of the Year. They made Fallout 3 Game of the Year. Fallout 4 Game of the Year contender. Don't think it won that year. It might have won, actually.
Right.
And now they got this. And it's like, they don't miss. They've spent a long time on this. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've clearly got the feature set. It looks incredible. People can scoff at it and say, well, it's just like No Man's Sky, all they want and stuff. Like, that's a fair comparison. But I'm sure it's going to have a hell of a lot more than what No Man's Sky does. And no knock into No Man's Sky's folks either, because small indie team, what they were able to achieve was just astounding, to be fair. They've made that money like a million times over at this point. So it's like, what else can like a full AAA studio do with this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm really curious to see what that is. Yeah. And it seems to be what Starfield is going to be. So it's definitely a step up, but definitely it looks incredible. I'm not going to say it's a Game of the Year contender or anything. I'm not going to say that until we play it. Yeah. But it's looking like a big old game.
It's looking good. We should probably wrap up soon because I have an appointment. But we can quickly talk about what we've been playing as well.
Sure.
To round this out. So what have you been playing, Vin?
I've been playing a couple of things. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom, which is probably going to win Game of the Year no matter what, because games journalists get to choose, which is insane to me. I will never stop being that drum.
Well, how's the story?
Yeah, you don't play
Zelda for the story. No.
hey, guess what, guys? Ganon's back, and hey, guess what, guys? You need to save Zelda again. Hey, guess what, guys? You're in a place called Hyrule, and guess what, guys? It's just, yeah, okay, we get it, sort of thing. I get that's the formula, that's what they're doing. The game is hella fun, though. Like, it's like the fuse mechanic and stuff, like how you can build stuff, it just makes you think in a different way, and it's really, like I said it a couple of weeks ago on the last episode. It sort of tickles a different part of my brain, which I really like the way that it does that. It's a really interesting game. But on the side of that, I re-downloaded Battlefield 1942 because I'm a huge Battlefield fan, and when that game first came out, it was garbage. It was awful. Like, it was broken. It just didn't look good.
Yeah.
It just was not up to scratch, in my opinion. It just was not a great game. They're now on season 5, I believe, of that game. Like, it's the game that never dies, sort of thing. So even though like it tanked really badly in reviews, they're keeping at it, and they keep fixing it and changing stuff, and it's definitely up to scratch now. Like, I'm actually having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Just full scale warfare, and it's Battlefield. Like, if anyone's listening to this that's played Battlefield before, then they sort of get it. Like, the idea, like, as you're running through, there's so much stuff happening. Like, a plane like flies by, and like helicopters are just shooting down it. Like, Jesus Christ, there's just so much like stuff happening, and it makes way for those what they call Battlefield moments. And there's plenty of those on YouTube if you want to go and check those out. Like, there's so many just wacky stuff that happens in those games that you just would not believe. Like, and you do them as well, and you don't even realize, like, how is that even possible? Like, yesterday I was running through the battlefield, and like a plane flew by and like arched around like between two like trees that were right in front of me, and I was like, that was incredible. And then just behind the trees, this helicopter started flying towards me and was just like strafing the floor, and I just happened to be a sniper, and I looked up and shot the pilot out of the helicopter, and just like this wreck came towards me and just skimmed over the top of my head, and this body just landed like right in front of me, and I was like, and no one was there to see it, right? And I didn't know, because like I don't really play on Xbox that often, but I didn't know how to like get the share feature working, so I was like, well, I got
quick, I gotta capture that,
right? It's like, oh god, it's gonna get a million views on YouTube or whatever, right? It's stupid stuff like that. But it was one of those moments, and that game is just, it's filled with those sorts of things. So great old game. Like, it's really shaped up. I'm glad that I got my money back when I first bought it, and I played it for like half an hour. I was like, this is awful. Like, this is not playable right now. Got my money back from Xbox, I've never done that before, but it was like, I'm not happy about it. But it was on it's on Game Pass now, so I gave it another go, and it was definitely worth it. I'm glad that I went back and tried it. So if anyone's on the fence about it, go and try it. It's actually pretty solid now.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
What
about
play,
you? What have you been playing?
Did you play Jedi Survivor?
I'm still playing the first one. I'm playing through that one again. I haven't finished it yet, so I haven't finished it again yet. So I haven't gotten to the second one yet, but I will.
Right.
That's on my list. But how about you? What have you been playing on?
I've been playing the Star Wars Lego game, the Skywalker Saga.
Of course. So like Jedi Survivor is there waiting for you, and you go for the Lego game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's with my lad Harrison. So
okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. Okay, that's
when
fair.
I've got time. Yeah, and I just don't have 60 quid at the moment. When I do, I will definitely pick it up. But I've been playing Breath of the Wild in preparation for Tears of the Kingdom.
So how are you finding it?
I caved because I wasn't enjoying it before, and then I started to enjoy it, and I don't know if I've done it in the right order, but now I've started to read the guides, and I've Googled what do I need to do next, and it's telling me where I need to go and what I need to do, and I figured that I can actually stay alive if I ride my horse on a path. I get into trouble as soon as I see an empty field, and I'm like, I can see a tower, I'm going to go for it. I just end up getting obliterated. And if I explore, I just get obliterated. So I'm following the you should then do this, go here and then do that. And I'm following it, and I'm actually finding it pretty fun. So
I do remember that being a problem in the first game, and it is kind of now that I'm aware of it, I know that it is a problem in the second game also, which is this whole idea of like they've got like this huge map, and then they've put harder enemies in a specific areas of the map, And that's kind of like they're sort of like trying to guide you, like, okay, if you go over here and you get absolutely wrecked, you're not meant to go there. Turn around and go somewhere else.
Yeah,
like that's
or like the weather as well.
Give you.
Yeah, but they
Dude,
give you the chilies and they give you the outfit, but they still make it too cold. It's like it's still too cold. It's like, oh, does that mean? And I'm talking to. Like, does that mean you're trying to get me to go elsewhere?
I can deal with that. I can deal with the cold. I can deal with the heat. I can deal. All that's fine. The rain.
It's the rain.
Drives me insane.
Yeah.
Because you can't climb stuff when it's raining. And the second game, I swear, man, I know it's randomized and stuff, and it's just a dice roll or whatever. But I got this weird line of dice rolls where just every single time I was playing Tears of the Kingdom, it was raining. And it's like, Christ, where did they set this game? In England? Like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, it's just every single day it's raining. It's like, I can't climb anything. I can't do anything. It's just, I had to like constantly use gadgets. And I'm guessing that's why they did it. But it's such a, like, it's a cool system the first time that it happens to you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining. And you slide down the wall. Like, oh, that's interesting. That's really cool that they did that. Weather. That's really cool. That's really fascinating. And the second time it's like, oh, yeah, it's still pretty cool. And then the third time is like, all right, I get it. And then the fourth time, like, this is kind of annoying. And then the 500th time, you're just like, why did they do this? Like, why is it in the rain? Why
shouldn't you have an ocarina that can change the weather anyway?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's
misplaced that.
Yeah, well, it's a different Link, isn't it? Like they're all different.
Fine.
All different Zelda. Yeah, none of it makes like in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not giving a spoiler away or anything, but like the king isn't around for various reasons. So the king isn't around if you haven't played Breath of the Wild for the past 6 years. Spoiler for Breath of the Wild, I guess. But it's not really, because you find out like instantly at the very beginning of Breath of the Wild, like the king is not really around, right? Yeah. It's just Zelda in the second game, but she's still Princess Zelda. It's like, shouldn't she be a queen or something by now? Like, isn't this kind of ridiculous?
When is she ever going to get coronated? Never.
Right, that poor right, exactly. Yeah, it's just like the never-ending non-coronation of Princess Zelda. She's forever destined to never be in power. Yeah, always be getting kidnapped. She's just having a bad time, basically. I will never not rag on the story of Legend of Zelda, by the way. It's just, it makes less sense as time goes by. You know what I mean? Especially in this whole like Me Too, post-Me Too movement and stuff, you know, like the whole, we're like post-Gamergate, like we're trying to push forward to show feminism is important, you know, showing independent of women and stuff, and yet we're still saving princesses and nobody backs an eye. It just blows my mind. It's just like, all right, cool. Like, I don't get this. Like, I understand, like, in the second game that she's a bit more sort of independent and stuff, and she's got her own powers and she's doing her own thing, but it's still that core concept of you need to do something to save the girl sort of thing. And Mario is the same. Like, Nintendo get that free pass every single day.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But yeah, it's a funny old business.
It is. We should probably call it a day now.
We should.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you wanted to see more, and let us know what your favorite thing was. We didn't talk about PlayStation isn't going to change their strategy, but they're not going to change their strategy. That's the nuts and bolts of it. Where can we find your stuff, Vin?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and all the other places. At Hillfort Games. I'm on TikTok as well. You can also find my game, Long Gone, which I'm currently solo developing on. You can find that on Steam. Give that a wish list if you're into it. If not, you can go and look on my social media platforms and sort of check it out if you just want to check it out what the game even is. But yeah, give me a like, give me a wish list, all that sort of stuff. And I really appreciate it because indie devs really, really like wish lists. How about yourself, sir?
Yeah, speaking of which, Focus Find could do with some more wish lists. That's what the indie game I'm making with Jump Button Studios at the moment. If you want to follow me, it's Acrylic Pixel. That's the name of my studio and everything. So YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Steam. It's Acrylic Pixel at the moment. So yeah, check that out and wishlist Focus Find, a 2D puzzle narrative game
thing.
It's like mystery narrative game.
There's a lot of genres getting ticked off in your game.
It is,
to be fair.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a hard game to sort of explain to people, I guess.
You just have to wishlist it really to understand it. That's
and just buy it. You know what I mean? Just buy it and play it.
Yeah, just buy it and play it.
Yeah, you just have to. It's the rules. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Until next time.
Yep.
Ta-ta.
Bye. Oh, that's the bell.
Someone is at the front door.